See, I have this feeling or this sense that there's someone out there who's trying to steer other people's lives to be something that they were not, that those people were not aiming for within, let's say, their professional zone. You see, someone on the outside is constantly trying to steer those people from becoming known in a successful area of where they would perceive themselves being professional at. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my case, would be web app development or what I created, Frugal's Good Enough to, and see, okay, here you go. It's almost like there's someone out there in society who's, it could be an organization, I'm not sure. It could be, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I'm not supposed to be really living with one mother and my sister. I'm supposed to be eventually moving out with someone. And I don't want to live with the dude, and I would prefer to live with someone who already knows me very well and I know very well eventually down the line. Because yeah, if I end up getting a Dodge Viper, for instance, I don't want someone who I don't really trust to beg me to try to borrow it to go somewhere and then them drive off with it somewhere. You know what I mean? And not be able to afford a repair or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Whereas if I'm, together with someone that's, within my who I already know based off of knowing their level of intelligence, skill set, what they can do if, let's say, something like that does, or I wouldn't have, if I'm with, let's say, a female, I wouldn't have them pay for that repair. I would probably pay for it or whatever. But if it's a dude, I'm not going to pay for their damages. You see what I'm saying? Or, anyways, yeah, I don't want to have my life restricted. You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, take for instance, let's say if it was the creator of the founders of Google back in the 90s when they were first becoming known of, before they extended their developer team, or whatever. Let's say it was only the two people who were starting out with Google. And let's say they were being told, they knew, and they predicted their net worth would be close to, let's say, the creator of Craigslist. Right, his net worth is around $1 billion or more. They're not going to like the idea of someone outside their private living space pulling them out of their property and then forcing them to live, if they can't find someone that they would prefer to live with, to then have to live in worse conditions. You see what I'm saying? That's not, it's more than not polite, or it's more than immoral. It's like that'd be basically putting them in a virtual prison in a way, because, like, in my case, I could have a Dodge Viper outside my mansion right now. You see what I'm saying? I could be living with a group of female cute girls, making my non-dairy milks, vegan, gluten-free vegan cupcakes, cookies, French pastries and things eventually. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to have a restriction on that when I can actually obtain it, because otherwise it's like it's it's a bit different than just theft. It's like invisible, but is like theft, but no one really is completely consciously aware of that in general. So, okay. Now, what was I going to say about this whole thing? Oh yeah, it's as if someone out there who's crossed the line with their workplace policy they're confusing workplace policy rules, or they don't completely clearly understand that, it's where it's not illegal for, let's say, if it was a customer uh, who would be a regular at a somewhere where someone may work, and then let's say they develop a mutual bond and they like each other, and if it's getting in the way of that person's work who works there, based off of the judgment of, let's say, their coworkers, or whether or not, if her relationship with the customers interfering with her job and those who they're working around. And if that's the case, then basically, if that person who works at that place doesn't come to the realization on their own, someone would have to tell them to that they would have to leave their work to be with whoever. So, okay, now otherwise, based if they have a clear enough judgment that that maybe they should leave their job, then they leave their job. But that's the workplace. That's where the line is drawn with workplace policy of things. Usually, it's not that they're not allowed. It's not like it's illegal for them to connect with one of their customers or something, and then if it interferes with their work, then they would have to leave, and they understand that. Otherwise, if they don't leave and it's still interfering with their work, and then obviously it becomes a bit of a public disturbance in that zone or territory. So, okay, here. It may not necessarily even be their fault either. Maybe actually their coworkers who are the issue. You see what I'm saying? Okay, because some like people have a certain level of privacy even within public, posts or whatever. You see, you're supposed to restrict. Like, okay, here, for instance, some people are listed on white pages, but you're supposed to respect that space still, because you don't know if that other person's in a relationship, and it's like it could be a problem if, let's say, instead of calling the person first, if someone saw their house address and then they actually went there could be a more than a connection. It could be a fight, So obviously there's where people may not clearly see, who are, could be a coworker with someone, is that they are actually they have to understand that they're not allowed to continuously zero in too much into their coworker's life, or because that then the coworker zeroing in is the issue. They have to come to that realization. All right, now back to what I was saying in the very beginning, and a third way back from where I am within this video recording, um, about this possibility, because I don't know what's going on. I'm not omnipresent in multiple locations at the same time, but based on what I had just mentioned with everything else preceding this one point, is oh yeah, it's as if this is another form of confusion I'm picking up on, that maybe a bit of a psychological issue on the behalf of someone out there, where they're crossing from, let's say, they're following the workplace policy rules at their workplace, but yet they are let's say, going beyond the scope of the building, the physical location, and by looking at someone's public posts, for instance, where they're crossing where the line would be drawn, within the legal realm of things, they don't realize that they're breaking the law. And it would make sense based off all the, the injurious type of results from that type of behavior. Now, it's a little bit of tortious interference involved. And, oh yeah, it's as if someone out there are people like this, and it's a bit backwards. Now, I was relating this healthy eating disorder orthorexia definition that I came across on the internet and from what I've dealt with doctor visits within the past. Okay, where this orthorexia thing, and with, let's say, the body mass index issue. See, it took me 15 years to figure out how to gain an extra 40 pounds that I needed based off of the body mass index standards desirable by, let's say, the physicians. Okay. And if I didn't meet up with those standards, I was facing threats of going to eating disorder clinics and things years ago. So, and I never had one. It's just I wasn't eating the right things I've been eating, and the things I eat are healthy. So I need to eat the way I eat, and I have to eat the things that I make. Otherwise, I don't gain that and maintain the 40 pounds that I need. Okay, that I have. So, all right. Now, the other thing is that where they're confused with that orthorexia definition and came to the forefront of my thought or my consciousness the other night is that it's actually based off that definition of how preparing food is interfering with social activities or something. In my case, it doesn't take long to make healthy meals anymore, and it never really interfered with that amount. It didn't take up that much time. 40 minutes is, some people, some women, they I know some there are a lot of guys who live on their own, and if they're going to expect dudes to be living, they're going to have to make their own food in order to gain an extra 40 pounds. Sometimes some recipes out there on the internet that someone may want to try may take 40 minutes. So, okay, whatever. Regarding that whole type of thing, where if, let's say, okay, so we're going to ship you like boxed meals with a government discount, like a senior discount or something, right? To someone out there, we'll ship you 10 frozen gluten-free vegan pizzas. You eat them in one sitting every night. Make sure you maintain that extra 40 pounds so that it would cut back on the time it would take to prepare it. But really, I think that that whole definition was confused with, let's say, a workplace policy issue, and the people who work maybe some at various places, people who work at various places were having issues with possibly, preparing their food in time and getting back to work. And that was one of the things that they may have put down on a survey. And it was supposed to be restricted within let's say, that type of zone or within society. Whereas I work from my house, and I found a way to do that. Since the age of 14, I was aiming towards that direction in life, to be eventually able to find a way to eventually make an income from without having to leave my property. You see what I'm saying? By writing web apps, or I was doing web development at the time. Okay, I had to relearn everything when I was 18, but before, I continued to go in that direction, but now I got this weird resistance, and there's confusion between that. I'll do a second video about something else in a little bit.